everybody, and welcome to this session. We are still waiting for our second guest, Florian, who will join us in a few seconds from the other stage. So he's still needed there. And we just take the occasion already to welcome our guest, Christoph from M Ventures. And Christoph is managing director at M Ventures, the VC of the Must family that is behind brands like Jägermeister. And maybe you can let us know a bit more about M Ventures, what you're doing, and which kinds of business models you're also investing until Florian is joining us for this fireside chat.
Of course. Thanks. Would love to. I think the first question that Florian would have asked me is why the hell a spirits producer from a small city in Wolfenbüttel of Germany starts a VC fund and also gets into, let's say, non-linear innovation. And usually our answer to it is that, first of all, it's because we're family owned. We're very lucky that we have an owner that's very much into innovation and also into the VC world. And therefore, we want to apply this thinking and also look into generations ahead of us. The second reason usually is that we say we have been selling more than just a drink or spirits for many, many years. I don't know, a few of you have had some experience with our core product, Jägermeister. But it's usually not just a shot, but there's usually a special moment and a special experience attached to it. And I think the most important reason why we actually started this is that we find that an important brand or an authentic brand has to deliver more than just a drink or than just bringing or delivering profit at the end of the day, but actually to have a higher purpose. And I think we have found our higher purpose in the way that we work. And that's basically why we started also looking into how we can fulfill that. And that's why we leverage venture capital.
And that's also going to be the topic of this fireside chat later with Florian. So how venture capital can actually bring people back together. And maybe you can dive a bit deeper on one of your investments. For example, I've seen Art Night is one of your investments. Maybe you can give us just a glimpse on your portfolio, which kind of companies you already invested, what kind of business models you are looking at the moment, and which trends you also see.
Yeah, I would love to. I think Art Night is a great example of a company that traditionally could have survived without venture capital. You could say they have the Volkshochschule approach of just creating offline formats where people can learn. However, through applying a more tech-driven approach to build the right performance marketing engine, to have the right host management, to educate your people and build up a brand, you can actually cater to thousands and thousands of people around Germany. Hey, Florian.
Hey, sorry, we had some problems setting it up.
No worries.
No worries. We just started with a short introduction of M Ventures, and I think the stage is yours for your fireside chat. And I will just remove from the stage and hand over to you, Florian. Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds good. Let's. You've introduced M Venture already.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about myself, or actually our work, and why we decided to do more than just selling herbal liquor in the future.
Okay. Your big theme is around saving the night and the best nights, and that is kind of something that you've achieved on the drink side already.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about kind of how you try to kind of implement this as a venture capital or an investment strategy? That would be really interesting. And what are kind of examples that derive or companies that derive from this strategy?
Yeah. So, basically we say best night is, first of all, something that actually creates a high life quality. And, when we say we want to create those, it's pretty obvious that if you just sell the right drink, that's not really enough. Probably also from your own experiences, if you have a best night, there is more than just a shot of Jägermeister. There's a lot of things around it. And we basically say there's, first of all, a consumer journey attached to it. So if we understand that consumer journey better, and in parts, we've always been doing that because, we have created events and we have been part of that, but we've never tried to monetize those. And secondly, there's also, a lot of other categories where people spend money in. And if you look at macro trends, alcohol or spirits as a whole is probably not the ones that's growing the fastest. So as of now, we have invested in 6 companies. I've just started touching on Art Night, which is a Berlin-based one, that, creating events, bringing people together. Another example could be Soundbox. It's a Danish hardware speaker company that basically creates the loudest, most durable, best speaker in the world. They've achieved a significant market share in Denmark, so roughly 50% of the Bluetooth speaker market. However, when they now have to create a more culture relevant brand and go to a lot of different markets, I think we could be a great player to help them get there. And those are just like two examples.
Can you describe a little bit how you work with those companies? Because I think it's quite obvious that, as a brand, you have quite a lot of experience with, but can you give some examples of how this actually works in practice?
Yeah. I mean, I think what's very, very important for us is that we are, let's say, a purpose-driven VC or a mission-driven VC, and we are not like a typical corporate VC where we, do a lot of collaboration contracts. So everything we do is investing on the normal terms, or just the terms that a standard VC like you would apply. And I think that's also the only way to qualify to co-invest with someone like you. Otherwise, you would say, no, let's not get the corporate on the cap table. But then, I think we have the advantage that we have a lot of touch points with all of these, with the consumers of our startups as well, that we have, say, the right artists in place, also the right access to different markets. So taking the example of Soundbox, I mean, they're selling in 4 countries right now. We sell in 160 countries. So we can now help them in the launch process to just, identify the right influencers in the local markets, to get to the right clubs, the right events, and then hopefully they can scale from there. But all of that for us only works if it actually creates values on both sides. So we never really force it. We never really put it into a contract. But we just, we try to find founders that share our mission. And then with that in mind, collaborations go quite easy.
Mm-hmm. One thing I found quite interesting also when talking to you before has been that, you might say saving the night, that's something, that's more to the hedonistic side in us, yeah? But it actually also has something to do with health of people. I mean, if you don't address, can you go a little bit into, also what science has found out about why, drinking and going out. I mean, probably the drinking piece, you have to do it responsibly, but why spending this good social time is actually not just something that's fun and realistic, but it's actually essential to the health of people. Yeah.
I mean, the drinking side, if you do it responsibly, I think we're going to also test it out with some of your coders later on in the Bournemouth Peak Challenge to see if drinking can actually enhance performance. But, if you look at a lot of different data sets or studies, I think the most prominent one is, it's called the Harvard Longitudinal Study. It's the longest running social study in the world. It's been around for like 80 years. And every year they're checking in with people, like how they feel, how their life develops, how their health develops. And if you look at the one thing that basically brings it all together is saying, if you have a deep social contact and good relationships, this definitely improves the quality of life. So taking this, then if you look at a lot of other things and a lot of other trends, and some I think are on this slide of how youth behavior and trends are changing, you just see that technology, also urban living, maybe also working from home can actually attack those relationships and that quality of life. I think looking at this one, it's one of my favorite charts, and actually the newest data just came out. This is I think the latest in 2017. The latest is on 2019, so still pre-COVID. But looking over the last 20 years, basically everything that somehow enabled a social life in real life has been going down. Of course, some of that are really, really good because here the survey is usually among high school students. They've been doing it for 30 years in the US. So you see drinking alcohol is going down, smoking cigarette going down tremendously, watching television is going down, having had the first sexual intercourse going down. Cannabis is somehow stable. I just looked at the recent data. It's slightly going up. I think that's mostly driven by, the distribution, accessibility, and the decriminalization of cannabis. But the only thing that really, really went up over the last 10, 20 years is spending more than 3 spending more than 3 hours per day on the computer. And if you look in the definition, it even means on the computer for non-school related tasks. I think now after COVID, this number probably goes up to 70, 80% of the young people spending more than 3 hours per day on the computer. if you then attach, virtual classes and e-learning and stuff with it, they're just, spending so much time there. And this can, I think, be a big risk to health, and actually also to the social connections that I talked to before. Another point, I think that's an interesting one is loneliness, which is also proven that if you're lonely, you're much more prone to certain diseases, and you usually have a lower quality of life. And if you look into urban environments, I like the example of London. There was a study, and it actually said that only 7% of Londoners say that the city is a good place to make friends. And if you look into a city like Berlin, where you live, more than 50% of Berliners are single. So I think there's a lot of important tasks to do, and maybe also, our VC approach can help to bring people back together. I mean, I don't know how you would classify it. Because you invest in health tech companies, and I think this traditional offline world isn't very far away from that. But
No, but I think on an abstract level, it makes a lot of sense to basically have this kind of thinking, and so I think that makes a lot of sense to actually classify that also in this direction. Yeah. What would be great to understand a little bit more is basically what's your vision on kind of the nightlife that we currently see? Yeah, because I mean right now nightlife is being shut down, not completely globally, but I mean obviously seriously diminished, and where do you see kind of the investment opportunities in that regard to bring this kind of, because obviously under COVID, unless there's a solution, there is no short-term going back in bars and partying for 200 people in a room with lots of aerosols spraying around. So what do you think could be also a short-term kind of investment opportunity there? Trends.
I mean, the good thing is, as an investor, luckily we can look forward and also look beyond, the next couple of months. But of course, right now, a lot of people in the industry are really suffering. Also, our sales are suffering in those outlets, because that's also where a lot of our core product is used to being drunken. But I would say on the short term, there is probably, so let's say on the 1 year horizon, there are probably two bigger opportunities. One is what I would call hybrid models. So a lot of the traditional business models around festivals, around concerts, don't really work anymore in, let's say, in a COVID world, or in a world where you have more regulations and have to take care more of safety. So I think in order to make them profitable again, you might have to enhance or virtually or digitally enhance events. I think there's a lot of things that are interesting. I just read today. There's the new a K-pop phenomenon, and it's actually the first time a girl band that has both virtual members and real life or real humans as members. So maybe there's more and more companies and also investment opportunities tapping into these kind of hybrid online offline mixed models, similar to what we're doing right now, I guess. The other area that we see is around immersive experiences. So I think people will have the high willingness to go out and go and experience new things, and a traditional cinema cannot deliver enough by just giving a film that you can also watch on Netflix. So I think there will be new kind of experience formats in the offline world that could be interesting. But if you look at it from a long-term perspective, I basically see two mega trends. The first one will be, let's call it mindful celebration. So people will get so used to taking care of their health and looking after themselves that also celebration will become much, much more mindful. We've seen first things also prior to COVID, like sober raves, people just getting up in the morning and partying from 5 to 7, then having breakfast and then going to work, not drinking. I think those kind of things will pick up stronger, and I think there is an opportunity. And the second one is, that's something we have to admit and embrace, is that people will have close encounters with new devices and virtual devices, again, just like we're doing right now. So finding the right things there, including hybrid models, could be interesting, especially for us as an investor.
Mm-hmm. Probably to finish this up, there's lots of entrepreneurs here in the crowd. If one thinks and has a concept there, what's the best way to contact you? Just write an email on LinkedIn, or what's the best way to approach you? Are you working with a lot of business angels? Are you also leading rounds? It's probably also something that's interesting.
So my LinkedIn inbox is not overflown yet, so I think I'm reading all the messages that come in. I mean, we also have a typical inbound email address, so please reach out. When it comes to leading rounds, I think the good thing is that we don't have a typical fund structure, and we are a little bit more fluid also around the sweet spot that we find. Therefore, it's not that defined yet. We like to work with experienced VCs if you can add something in, but we're also willing to back entrepreneurs that don't have a traditional VC model, that might live off profitable growth for a certain time, certain years, that don't need the certain exit. So we're a little bit more flexible as long as people really share our mission. And if they share our mission, they definitely get an access to us. We're tangible.
Well, that's also a cool thing, and I can just also point that out from a personal experience. I mean, you have the ultimate shareholder structure, yeah? So I mean, it's just one family, basically 3 siblings that own Jägermeister, that are basically providing the cash, and I think that is something. I mean, as a VC, I know that quite well. If you have a fund structure, you're quite limited sometimes in what you can do, and if you have obviously 3 people that are your basically people providing the funds, it's sometimes a lot easier and could be a better fit than, I mean, obviously you also invest in typical VC cases, but it could also be, you're a lot more flexible in what you can do than we are.
Yeah. I mean, it's both in terms of flexibility, but also, having the breadth for a long game, because, our mission is very ambitious. There will be certain boom and bust cycles in between. I mean, right now it's a more difficult time, but probably also a time with a lot of opportunity and a lot of changing consumer behavior, that hopefully, we have enough time to build up the right skills and the right reputation to lead good deals. Also, maybe with you guys very soon.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much. Sorry for interrupting you.
Martin, M-Ventures open for business. That's good. Jägermeister's open for business. And I guess we have to close this up now.
Yes, unfortunately, but I think Christoph is still available in Wonder. So I post here the link, so you can just follow him into Wonder, and he's available there